can do one thing right. With the time I got left, I can't do it alone. Can't do it without you.
The Boys is one of the most enjoyable and engaging shows that is currently streaming. Since it first released on Amazon Prime Video in 2019, each season of the series has continued to push the boundaries of what the political superhero genre can show, both in terms of character dynamics and the brutality and variety of gore that is presented to us viewers. Since Season 3, audiences have been promised the ultimate showdown between powers, scorched earth, blood and bone, last man standing. And with the series entering its 5th and final season in 2026, there's no doubt of what this final standoff will entail. Let's not forget that the hit series is based on the comic series of the same name. It's not a straight adaptation though, as we've already seen several story and character derivatives from the pages to the screen. Therefore, just because the comic details a certain ending, doesn't mean that the show will follow the exact same route. There's also the spin-off series genv to consider, which was an entirely new creation within the Boys universe, and with both Season 1 and Season 2 of the show having direct narrative implications for Season 4 and the upcoming Season 5 of the Boys respectively. As we creep closer to the 2026 release date of Season 5, the cast and crew have been drip-feeding audiences with small teasers as to what to expect from the finale. Eric Kripke, the showrunner of The Boys, has suggested that there's no guarantee that anyone is going to survive as it's the last season, so we're likely going to see the end of some of our most beloved characters. In today's video, we'll be ranking which of our main characters are going to meet their end in the final season from least likely to most likely. Our main ensemble this season includes 17 actors. However, I've decided to exclude Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character Joe Kessler and Daveed Diggs' undisclosed character. Joe Kessler has already met his end as indicated in Season 4, but will continue to serve as Butcher's afterlife advocate in the final season. And we don't know enough about Daveed Diggs' character to understand his importance or impact on the story of the upcoming season. Therefore, we'll rank the other 15 characters that we do know about. With all that out of the way, let's begin. Number 15, Ryan. Ryan is a character who's been with us since the end of Season 1 and has undergone some major character growth, particularly in Season 4. As the first natural-born Supe and son to Homelander, Ryan has spent since the start of Season 2 with conflicting ideologies pressed into him by his father, his mother, Becca Butcher, and Billy Butcher himself. Season 4's final 2 episodes demonstrated that Ryan is as confused as ever, and we don't quite know which side that leaves him on going into Season 5. However, I'm confident in suggesting that Ryan is safe from his demise in the upcoming season. He's one of the 3 or 4 characters that we've alluded to that has the potential to take down Homelander. But when it comes to it, I don't think Ryan has the stomach to end anyone, nor do I think Kripke has designs for Ryan to perish. He will be an important character without a doubt, but when the credits roll on the finale, I expect Cameron Cravetti's character to still be alive. Number 14, Huey. Huey is the only character apart from Ryan who I think is 100% safe. Huey got lots of screen time in Season 4 and was in many of the different subplots alongside the main story. Kripke recently came out to say that he defended the emotional torment Huey experienced in Season 4 to help him build him into the character he needed to be. While that's quite ominous, I think that it gave Huey clarity on what he and the boys will be trying to accomplish in Season 5. There was a set photo shared online earlier that I won't show or mention, but it gives some ideas as to where the story of Huey goes. And given that Huey has been our main good guy since the very start, I think it's fitting and deserved that he would make it out of this season. Number 13, Kimiko. Minor spoiler here if you haven't seen the show, but Kimiko has already died plenty of times before. She is a Supe after all, and has one of the best powers you could have. And despite the show introducing weapons that can eliminate all Supes in the world, I don't see Kimiko falling victim to it if that's the route they go with Season 5. Because we've seen her die so many times already, it would almost feel anticlimactic to see it again because it wouldn't feel real. However, in the off chance Season 5 introduces something similar to the Supe virus, there is obviously still a small chance. I think Kimiko is quite safe given her character arc doesn't need her to die to make sense or feel fulfilling. Number 12, Annie. Annie, more commonly recognised as the superhero Starlight, has gone through an ordeal each season of The Boys thus far, and Season 5 seems like it will continue with this. After a dejecting end for Annie in Season 4's final episode, We've seen Annie most recently pop up in genv Season 2 as one of the figureheads of the resistance movement against Vought and Homelander. Annie is the main symbol of good in the series, most notably as the public anti-Vought collective are recognised as starlighters. Much like Kimiko, Annie doesn't need to die for her story to feel complete. All she's ever wanted was happiness and control over her own life, and having her story cut short would feel unfulfilling for a character we've been following since the very first episode. Annie is the most powerful we've seen her at this current point in time, and it's clear she will be a formidable opponent for whoever Vought sends her way. While I do see a world where Annie sacrifices herself to save Huey, I think that's incredibly unlikely, and is why I think Annie walks away from the bloodbath of Season 5. Number 11. Ashley. Ashley is one of only 2 characters who I'm genuinely unsure about what their fate will be at the season's end. Season 4 left her in a very cryptic way. She was about to be outed and killed by members of theseven for having dirt on Vought and Homelander, before taking a dose of Compound V, which began to alter her body. We don't know exactly what sort of story is left for Ashley, whether she'll be fighting against Vought now, if she's gone into hiding, or if nothing changes at all. So it's hard to make an assessment of how her story concludes. Number 10. Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy is one of the most popular characters of the series. Introduced to us in Season 3, Jensen Ackles' portrayal of the iconic character has been so well received that they've given him a prequel series. Soldier Boy's story will be fascinating to follow in Season 5, as he's clearly got a lot of baggage left with Butcher, Homelander, and Noir. His dynamic within Vought and theseven is going to be intriguing to see, which is why I don't have a clear picture of how his story goes in this upcoming season. On one hand, what sort of meaningful story is left to tell with Soldier Boy outside of revenge? He also seems incredibly powerful and steadfast to remain in the world at the series' conclusion. On the other hand, would Kripke and Amazon really kill off their main character of a series that hasn't come out yet? While it's a tussle between storytelling and logistics, I can see both possibilities for this character, and he'll be one to keep a close eye on throughout the season. Number 9. Frenchie. Frenchie is one of my personal favourite characters of the show. I've been paying extra close attention to his character arc over the seasons, and I feel like his demise would fit for him. He is someone who has always been haunted and plagued by his past mistakes. In Season 4, he sent himself to prison because of the guilt he felt for killing Colin's family. I can imagine that, in the right circumstances, he would give his life to save someone else's, which would finally relieve him of the burden he's been carrying with him for so long. Frenchie's importance to the main story has also faded as the seasons have carried on, and I think the writers are struggling to incorporate him in meaningful story elements. We've seen him tossed into subplots that have minor relevance to the main storyline, but all seem to follow the same formula of illustrating the shame and guilt. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's more likely than not that Frenchie meets his end in this upcoming final season. Number 8. Firecracker. Firecracker is a relatively new character for audiences as she was only introduced to us in Season 4, and her importance to the upcoming final season will be highly related to her relationship with Homelander. As seen in genv Season 2, she's taken on the role of controlling the media and narrative coming out of Vought, using her platform to spread misinformation which Sage determined was her main superpower. Why I think Valerie Curry's character is likely to meet her end in Season 5 is because we've seen 2 other characters throughout the series take on a similar position to this, and they're both dead. First was Stormfront in Season 2, who used social media to gain mass following and popularity, and that same audience who ultimately turned on her upon the reveal of her past. Second was Cameron Coleman, who was beaten to death by the hands of theseven in Season 4 after he was mistakenly identified as the Leak. Like Coleman, Firecracker will be a scapegoat when things inevitably turn to mud, and given her weak real powers, she is incredibly vulnerable. Number 7. Black Noir. Black Noir has always been a background character in the show. His story in the comics is very different to that in the show, however. Season 3 actually explored the past of Black Noir, which was a nice change of pace for the character who had never said anything. But now, after his death at the hands of Homelander in Season 3, we have a second iteration of the character, whose power is flight and levitation. We know coming off the finale of Season 4 that he and the Deep are in similar headspaces and are loyal servants to Homelander. But the reason I think Noir is a goner is because of the little relevance he's had to the show overall. However, with soldierboy coming back and seemingly on Vaught's side, it'll be interesting to see how Noir and soldierboy interact, as they never met in Season 3. Number 6. Mother's Milk. Each season we keep getting dangerously close to the demise of MM, and I think Season 5 is the time that he goes. There is an official title of Season 5 titled The Frenchman, the Female, and the Man Called Mother's Milk, which to me sounds like an episode where one of the three at least is seeing their end. It makes sense for MM to die this season. He's been loyal to the boys since the beginning, and it would give something for the rest of the team to rally and avenge him. I suspect with soldierboy coming back into the fray, and the history these two characters have, that MM could be taking too big of a swing. Number 5. The Deep. The Deep has been one of the strangest character arcs of the main ensemble. From the start of Season 1 until midway through Season 3, he was cast aside from the main 7 group, but always present in the show. I always struggled to understand what the point of keeping him in the show was, as his story never felt like it impacted the overall plot. While I think he is hilarious and Chase Crawford is perfect casting, the Deep is a character that realistically shouldn't be surviving this upcoming season. He's got a new mindset now after killing Ambrosius, but I feel like he could get way too overeager. Again, it's difficult to know how and why some of these characters could perish, with details of the new season largely unknown, but Deep has the right amount of stupidity and cluelessness to get him into trouble with anyone. Number 4. Sister Sage. Sage is arguably the most important character going into the final season. Her story arc throughout Season 4 was really fascinating to watch, and she teased there was even more to come. Her appearances in genv Season 2 offer a different perspective on her mission going into Season 5. As the world's smartest person, she's a million steps ahead of everyone. But her actions in the finale of genv suggested that no matter who has plans in place for Vought and Homelander, that it all ends the same regardless. What began as a sinister plot to foil Starlight and the boys team now has strange layers to it. Her association with Godolkin and his public outing has cast a shadow on Sage's credibility moving into Season 5. Sage is also very weak and probably can't protect herself from any physical damage. As the mastermind behind whatever Phase 2 turns out to be, Sage will be a scapegoat when things go sideways. Susan Hayward has killed it as Sage so far and has universally been accepted as one of the better new characters in the series, but her powers and her role within Vought makes it hard for me to see how she won't die. Number 3. Homelander. Homelander is probably the most iconic character from the franchise. Anthony Starr's portrayal continues to get better each season we see the man, and I would argue that a large majority of viewers of The Boys watch only for him. He's such a uniquely complicated character, making it impossible to know what he's going to do. He's also incredibly strong, pretty much impenetrable, and has godlike powers. As we learned in Season 2 of genv, Homelander was designed to be one of these soups more powerful than the rest. So why do I think he's guaranteed to die this season? In Season 3, Episode 1, Homelander and Butcher have a very fruitful conversation that teases Scorched Earth, the ultimate showdown, and those two being the only ones standing. We haven't had a proper Butcher versus Homelander showdown since the finale of Season 3, and I expect that this upcoming and inevitable duel between the two will be the demise for Homelander. There's also the case that Homelander is the big bad of the season, and given the world of the boys can't continue after this season, we should expect to see good triumph. Therefore, I expect Homelander to die in Season 5, probably in the final episode, and in a grand fashion after one of the best fights of the series. Number 2. Billy Butcher. Butcher falls into a similar case as Homelander. By Season 4's end, he's fully embraced the Compound B within him, and with a clear purpose as what he needs to do now. Butcher's been here before, of course, but I expect that given how powerful Butcher clearly is now, that there's nothing stopping him from a full-on rampage. It'll be interesting to see how he interacts with main characters from here on out. The boys team will clearly be very pissed with him after he offed Newman, and there's no chance he's siding with any of the soups that we know. So he might act as a lone wolf for the first half of the season. The Homelander vs Butcher confrontation that we are all expecting will of course be amazing, and I do see Butcher coming out victorious. However, it's also important to recognise that Butcher is a dying man, and that we don't know the extent that the Compound B will help him. I suspect that in a situation where Butcher has the opportunity to turn on his team of boys, that he will come to his senses, and Joe Kessler, as Butcher's powers, will turn on him and end his life. Of course, this is just an idea, but I'm still very confident that Butcher doesn't make it out of the season. Number 1. A-Train. No one else was going to end up here. A-Train, more than anyone else in this series, will be meeting his end in Season 5. Myself, like a lot of other people, avidly loved the redemption arc of A-Train in Season 4, and with him being exposed as the leak in Episode 7, there was a nervous wait to see what his fate would be in the finale. We of course didn't see any of A-Train in Episode 8, so that nervous wait continued. We know he will be siding with Annie and the boys in Season 5 as a figurehead of the resistance movement, which will add another interesting dynamic to the group. But with two soups on their side, the playing field is starting to level out against the Seven. The most likely way that A-Train meets his end is at the hands of Homelander, who was absolutely devastated when he learned of A-Train's betrayal. In a similar way, the last time Homelander was betrayed like that was by Noir in Season 3, and that didn't end well for him. I think that A-Train will have a good story in the final season and meaningfully contribute to what the boys are doing, but I think everyone who's seen the show knows exactly how his story ends. I don't think there's a single person who's not excited for this final season of The Boys. It's got all the promise of going out with a bang, and given the sheer quality of the show for the last 7 years and 4 seasons, I think we're in for quite a treat. But the world of The Boys doesn't come to an end once this season does. There are supposedly plans for genv Season 3, which has become a favourite for many fans. We have Vought Rising, which is currently filming with Jensen Ackles, Aya Cash, who plays Stormfront, Mason Dye, and Elizabeth Posey as the stars. Then we also have The Boys Mexico, which is currently in development. It's unclear whether that will be set in the same universe as this, or if it's a completely different one, but regardless, we're getting more content from this franchise in the near future, and it's incredibly exciting. Both Jack and I love The Boys, so if you want to see more content from us, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know down in the comments who you think doesn't make it out of Season 5.